the world you see, the circumstances you experience, the abundance or lack thereof in your life. All these are the direct result of your own consciousness. Your consciousness is the only reality. Everything else is merely a reflection, a shadow cast by the light of your own awareness. When you truly grasp this fundamental truth, you will realize that you have been the author of your own limitations. And more importantly, you have the power to rewrite your story completely. Every morning when you wake, you have a choice. You can either continue to clothe yourself in the old garments of limitation, or you can put on the new man, the abundant self that is your true nature. The old self whispers to you about bills that need to be paid, about opportunities that have passed you by, about dreams that are too big for someone like you. But I tell you, someone like you is exactly who these dreams are meant for. You are not separate from your desires. Your desires are the very voice of your higher self calling you forward into greater expression. The secret to deleting your old self lies in understanding the nature of assumption. An assumption is simply a belief that you accept as true without requiring proof. You have been making assumptions all your life. It's assumptions about your limitations, about what is possible for you, about what you deserve. But what if I told you that you could choose your assumptions? What if I told you that you could assume abundance, assume success, assume that you are living the life of your dreams right now? This is not positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is the recognition that your assumptions, when persistently held, must and will manifest in your physical reality. The law of assumption is as reliable as the law of gravity. When you assume something to be true about yourself and persist in that assumption, the world has no choice but to conform to your belief. But here is where most people fail. They try to change their outer world while maintaining their inner world of limitation. They work harder, they hustle more, they follow every strategy and system, but they never address the root cause of their lack, their own consciousness. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot assume abundance while simultaneously believing in scarcity. You cannot assume success while dwelling in the feeling of failure. The old self must die for the new self to be born. This is not a metaphor. This is the actual process of transformation. The old self, with all its fears and limitations, must be crucified daily on the cross of your new assumption. And just as surely as night follows day, the new self will rise from the ashes of the old, clothed in the reality of your fulfilled desires. Let me tell you how this works in the most practical terms. When you wake each morning, instead of immediately checking your phone or rushing into the day's activities, you must first tend to your inner garden. You must water the seeds of your new assumptions and pull up the weeds of your old limiting beliefs. This is not work. This is the most important work you will ever do, because it is the work of creation itself. Close your eyes and feel yourself living in the end of your desired state. If abundance is what you seek, then feel the naturalness of having abundance. Feel the relief of never having to worry about money again. Feel the joy of being able to give generously to others. Feel the confidence that comes from knowing that you are a magnet for prosperity. Do not visualize these things as distant possibilities. Feel them as present realities. Live in the end. The feeling is the secret. Your emotional state is the fuel that powers the engine of manifestation. When you can feel genuine gratitude for abundance that has not yet appeared in your physical reality, when you can feel the satisfaction of success that is still invisible to the naked eye, then you have touched the creative power of assumption. This feeling state is not something you generate through effort. It is something you fall into by virtue of your assumption. But I must warn you, the old self will not go quietly into the night. It will fight for its survival with every trick in its arsenal. It will remind you of past failures. It will point to current circumstances as evidence of your limitations. It will whisper that you are being foolish and unrealistic. This is the dark night of the soul that every spiritual seeker must pass through. But I tell you, this opposition is actually a sign that you are on the right path. The old self only fights when it feels threatened. When these moments of doubt arise, and they will arise, you must remember who you truly are. You are not your circumstances. You are not your past. You are not the opinions of others. You are pure consciousness, the very power that creates worlds. You are the operant power of your own reality. When you truly understand this, you will stop trying to change your world and start changing your assumptions about your world. The morning ritual I want you to establish is this. Before you engage with the external world, engage with your inner world. Before you check your email, check your assumptions. Before you look at your bank account, look at your consciousness. Spend time in the silence of your own being, assuming that you are already the person you want to become. Feel it, live it, be it. This is not preparation for manifestation. This is manifestation itself. You see, there is no gap between assumption and manifestation. The moment you assume something to be true, it becomes true in the only realm that matters, the realm of consciousness. The physical world is simply the screen upon which consciousness projects its beliefs. When you change the film in the projector, you change what appears on the screen. But the change happens first in consciousness, not in the physical world. This is why I tell you to live in the end. Do not wait for external confirmation of your new state. Do not wait for the bank account to reflect your assumption of abundance. Do not wait for others to treat you according to your new self-concept. Live in the end now. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled now. Be the person you want to be now. The old self operates from the premise that you must see it to believe it. But I tell you, you must believe it to see it. You must assume it to experience it. You must feel it to attract it. This is the complete reversal of the way most people approach life. And it is precisely why most people remain trapped in patterns of limitation. Every morning you have the opportunity to choose which self you will wear for the day. Will you put on the old self of limitation, or will you clothe yourself in the new self of abundance? Will you assume the feeling of lack, or will you assume the feeling of fulfillment? The choice is always yours, and the choice you make will determine the experiences you attract. But remember, this is not about pretending or putting on a false persona. This is about recognizing the truth of who you already are. Abundance is not something you acquire, it is something you are. Success is not something you achieve, it is something you express. Joy is not something you find, it is something you emanate. The old self was never your true self. It was simply a costume you wore because you did not know any better. The process of deleting your old self is really the process of remembering your true self. It is the process of stripping away the layers of conditioning and limitation that have accumulated over the years and revealing the magnificent being that you have always been. This is not self-improvement. This is self-revelation. When you truly understand that you are the creator of own reality, you will stop being a victim of circumstances and start being the author of your experience. You will stop reacting to life and start creating life. You will stop hoping for abundance and start expressing abundance. You will stop seeking success and start being successful. The morning practice I'm giving you is designed to interrupt the automatic patterns of the old self and establish new patterns of the abundant self. Each morning, as you engage in this practice, you are literally rewiring your consciousness. You are creating new neural pathways that support your new reality. You are becoming a new person at the cellular level. But this work requires consistency and persistence. You cannot do this practice once or twice and expect miraculous results. You must do it daily, religiously, with the same devotion that you would give to any sacred ritual, because that is exactly what it is, a sacred ritual of transformation. The old self will try to convince you that this practice is a waste of time, that you should be doing more practical things to improve your situation. But I tell you, there is nothing more practical than changing your consciousness. There is nothing more efficient than aligning your assumptions with your design. There is nothing more powerful than living in the end of your fulfilled dream. As you continue this practice, you will begin to notice subtle changes in your experience. Opportunities will appear that were not there before. People will treat you differently. Circumstances will shift in your favor. This is not coincidence. This is the law of assumption in action. Your changed consciousness is attracting experiences that match your new level of being. But do not make the mistake of looking for these changes as proof that the practice is working. The practice is working from the moment you begin it. The changes in your external world are simply the delayed reflection of the changes in your internal world. Trust the process. Trust the law. Trust yourself. The old self lies in a world of effects, constantly trying to manipulate circumstances to create the desired outcome. But you are learning to live in the world of causes, to be the cause of your own experience. When you are the cause, you are in complete control. When you are the effect, you are at the mercy of circumstances. This shift from being an effect to being a cause is the most important shift you will ever make. It is the shift from limitation to abundance, from fear to love, from reaction to creation. It is the shift from the old self to the new self. And it happens one assumption at a time, one morning at a time, one moment at a time. The abundance you seek is not somewhere out there waiting to be discovered. It is within you waiting to be expressed. The success you desire is not something you need to earn or deserve. It is something you are, something you embody, something you radiate. The old self believed in earning and deserving. The new self knows that you are already worthy, already abundant, already successful. When you wake each morning and engage in this practice, you are not trying to become someone new. You are remembering who you have always been. You are not trying to attract abundance from the outside. You are allowing the abundance within you to flow freely into expression. You are not trying to change your circumstances. You are changing your consciousness, and your circumstances have no choice but to reflect that change. This is the great secret that has been hidden in plain sight throughout all of human history. The kingdom of heaven is within you. The power to create is within you. The abundance you seek is within you. The old self looked for these things outside of itself and found only limitation. The new self looks within and finds infinite possibility. The morning ritual I am giving you is your daily appointment with this infinite possibility. It is your daily practice of recognizing and expressing your true nature. It is your daily opportunity to choose abundance over lack, success over failure, joy over sorrow. It is your daily chance to delete the old self and activate the new self. But remember, this is not a one-time event. This is a daily practice, a way of life, a new way of being. Each morning you must choose again. Each morning you must assume again. Each morning you must feel again. Each morning you must be again. The old self was built through repetition, the repetition of limiting thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. The new self is built the same way through the repetition of abundant thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. You are literally programming yourself for success, for abundance, for joy. You are becoming what you repeatedly assume yourself to be. This is why the morning practice is so crucial. It sets the tone for your entire day. It establishes the vibrational frequency from which you will operate. It activates the consciousness that will attract your experiences. When you start your day from a place of assumed abundance, you cannot help but attract abundant experiences. The old self started each day by checking external conditions and allowing those conditions to determine its emotional state. If the bank account was low, it felt poor. If the job was unsatisfying, it felt unsuccessful. If the relationship was troubled, it felt unloved. This is living as an effect, and it is the source of all suffering. The new self starts each day by checking internal conditions and allowing those conditions to determine its assumptions. If the inner feeling is abundance, it assumes abundance. If the inner feeling is success, it assumes success. If the inner feeling is love, it assumes love. This is living as a cause, and it is the source of all joy. When you truly understand this principle, you will never again allow external circumstances to determine your internal state. You will never again be at the mercy of conditions. You will never again be a victim of your environment. You will be the master of your consciousness and therefore the master of your reality. The transformation from old self to new self is not a gradual process. It is an instantaneous shift that happens the moment you assume your new identity. But the stabilization of this new identity requires constant practice, constant assumption, constant feeling. This is why I give you this morning ritual, to help you stabilize in your new reality. Each morning, as you engage in this practice, you are casting a vote for the person you want to be. You are investing in the reality you want to experience. You are sowing the seeds of the harvest you want to reap. And just as surely as seeds planted in good soil will grow into fruitful plants, the assumptions you plant in consciousness will grow into manifest reality. The old self lived in the valley of dry bones, a spiritual wasteland where dreams went to die, and hopes were buried beneath layers of disappointment. But I tell you, you have the power to speak life into those dry bones. You have the power to resurrect your dreams. You have the power to transform your spiritual wasteland into a garden of abundance. This power is not something you need to develop or earn. It is something you already possess. It is the very essence of who you are. The old self simply did not know how to access this power. The new self knows that accessing this power is as simple as changing your assumptions. When you assume abundance, you are not lying to yourself or engaging in wishful thinking. You are aligning with the truth of your being. Abundance is your natural state. Limitation is the illusion. Success is your birthright. Failure is the aberration. Joy is your essence. Sorrow is the deviation. The morning practice I am giving you is designed to help you remember these truths and live from them. It is designed to help you delete the false programming of the old self and activate the true programming of the new self. It is designed to help you become who you were always meant to be. As you engage in this practice day after day, you will begin to feel a fundamental shift in your being. You will begin to feel more confident, more abundant, more successful. This is not because you are pretending to be these things. This is because you are becoming these things. You are literally transforming at the level of identity. The old self was like a person wearing tattered clothes, convinced that this was all they deserved. The new self is like a person putting on royal robes, remembering their true station. The robes were always there, waiting to be worn. The royalty was always there, waiting to be claimed. The abundance was always there, waiting to be expressed. This is the great work of your life, not to become someone new, but to remember who you have always been. Not to acquire abundance, but to express the abundance that is your nature. Not to achieve success, but to embody the success that is your birthright. Not to find joy, but to radiate the joy that is your essence. The morning ritual is your daily practice of remembering, expressing, embodying, and radiating. It is your daily practice of being. And when you truly learn to be, you will find that having follows naturally. When you truly learn to express, you will find that attraction becomes automatic. When you truly learn to embody, you will find that manifestation becomes effortless. This is the promise I make to you today. If you will faithfully engage in this practice each morning, if you will consistently assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, if you will persistently live in the end of your desired state, then you will see the old self fade away like a bad dream and the new self emerge like the dawn of a new day. The choice is before you now. Will you continue to live as the old self, trapped in patterns of limitation and lack? Or will you step into the new self, free to create and express, and experience the abundance that is your divine heritage. The old self says it is too good to be true. The new self knows it is too good not to be true. Your abundant life is not a distant possibility. It is a present reality waiting to be claimed. Your successful self is not a future hope. It is a current truth waiting to be expressed. Your joyful existence is not a someday dream. It is a right now experience waiting to be embraced. The morning practice I have given you is your key to this reality. Use it faithfully, consistently, persistently. Let it transform you from the inside out. Let it delete your old self and activate your new self. Let it attract the abundance that is your birthright. The old self is dead. Long live the new self. The old reality is dissolved. Long live the new reality. The old life is finished. Long live the new life. This is your moment of transformation. This is your time of abundance. This is your season of success. Step into it with confidence, with joy, with the absolute certainty that you are already that which you seek to become. Go now and live as the abundant being you are. Go now and express the success that is your nature. Go now and radiate the joy that is your essence. The old self is no more. The new self is here. The transformation is complete. The abundance is yours.